Hi, Michelle. This is Stefan. You had asked me to show you how to create a thermometer in Excel, and you sent me an Excel file that had your summary data in it that would be the basis of your thermometer. So what I'm going to do here is kind of walk you through how do you not only build a thermometer in Excel, but make it so that it updates itself automatically and keeps your administrative tasks down to a minimum. So the first thing we're going to do is take a look at the data you sent me. And what I noticed here is when I look at staff donors and fundraisers and participation is that every month you are putting in the cumulative number of where you stand, not the incremental difference from the month before. So that's slightly problematic, because what you want is to be able to just put in how many new donors or how much more money was raised in a given month, and then we'll let Excel do the math for us. So let's do this. I see that the difference between January and February was 7, so there's 7 additional people for a total of 53. So what we're going to do in February, we're just going to say put in 7. And then down here in the totals row, we'll actually change that into a real total by clicking on that cell, and I'm going to use the auto sum feature because I'm lazy. And what we can do when we have the auto sum feature, we can either just use our cursor and highlight the cells that we want, which is what I did there, or we can select the range by actually moving the highlighted box, the box that's highlighted with the marquee. So I just use the cursor method to select the cells that we want to include in our sum. I press enter. That way, now whenever we enter our differential numbers for March, April, May, etc., it will automatically change the grand total. We're going to take the same approach here in column C for fundraised, and since I am not going to try to do the math in my head, I'll just quickly come over here, find out what the difference is. $3,016. All right, so we're going to change that to 3016. Okay. And then we're going to come down to our totals row, click on our auto sum, and this time I'll actually show you how to use the drag method. Notice this marquee that's flashing around the 18,000. I'm just going to move my cursor right until I'm on the corner of the box, and notice I get the diagonal double arrow. And I'm just going to drag the top of that box up to there, and then I'm going to come back down to the bottom of the box, and you'll see I'll get another diagonal double arrow, and we'll move it there so that we only have January through December highlighted. Press enter, and there we go. We'd want to do the same thing with participation, although your challenge with participation is that percentages, you want your percentages calculated off of a base number. So if your participation is based on number of people who are participating in your campaign, what you probably want is what is the number of total people who could participate, and what is the number of people who have participated, right? Divide the number of people who have participated by the number of the total people who could participate. That gives you a percentage. And then you can do that on a monthly basis, right? So you would basically be summing up how many people have participated, dividing that total every month by the total number of people who could participate, and you'll get your final percentages there. That's going to be an easier way. But since I don't have that number, I'm not going to take that step for you. So let's go ahead and let's do a little other cleanup. Let's make sure that we're formatting our data consistently. So I'm going to highlight the fundraised column, and I'm going to use the accounting format, and I'll take out those zeros behind the decimal point. There we go, so we're all good. So now what I've done, I'm highlighting just cell C19, the total for the fundraise. I'm going to use that to make my thermometer. And what I'm going to do is come over to insert, the insert ribbon, and I'm going to just click on column. And what we want, a plain old 2D column is going to be the basis of our thermometer. We click on that, and what you'll notice, if I move this window over, is that Excel guessed and said, well, all of these cells have numbers. You must really want to use all of those cells in your column. And that's not our case at all. So what we're going to do, using that same corner drag method that I used for the auto sum, I'm going to come over here and say, nope, all I want you to do is show me a graph with just that one number. Okay? And here we go. We've got that here. And let's get rid of the stuff we don't need. We don't need a chart title, so I'm just going to click on that and hit the delete key. I don't need a legend, so I'm going to click on that, hit the delete key. And now what I want to do is I'm going to first thing I'm doing, I'm going to right click on the column here, and I'm going to choose Format Data Series. And the first thing I'm going to do for the series, I'm going to say no gap. So I'm changing my gap to 0%. What that says, typically it would be how much space is between one series of data and the next series of data, or one column of data and the next column. We're going to change that down to 0. And what you'll notice, it's now as wide as the entire plotting area is. The next thing we're going to do, and this actually has to do with helping us out when we get ready to paste this into some other program, is we're going to make our charting area very narrow, just as narrow as at the size we want our thermometer to be, which is about that size. And we don't need this category label down there, so I'm going to click on it and get rid of it as well. All right. So next, what I'm going to do is right click in the blue bar again, and what we're going to do is format our data series, and this time we're going to change what color it is, and let's change it. We're going to choose a solid fill, and since we're using a thermometer, let's make it red. I'm going to move this over here so that you can see that. So there we go. So now we've got that as red. Say OK. All right. So now we're getting there, right? Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click in the what is called the plot area. Now think of the plot area as the lines that you would see on a chart that kind of show you where the chart is. So and we're going to right click in the plot area and choose Format Plot Area. For my plot area, what I want for my border, which is going to be the outside of my thermometer, I'm going to choose a solid line, and I'm going to make that red as well. And let's also click on Border Styles, and let's pump up the size of that line a little bit to maybe something like 2 points. And then we click Close. All right, we're getting closer. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to right click on one of the numbers for our axes, because if you'll notice, our axis goes from nothing to $6,000. What we're going to do is right click on like where it says $5,000 and choose Format Axes. So what are we going to do here? Well, for the minimum, we want to fix the minimum at 0, and the reason we want to do that is because since our chart goes up to 18,000, if we didn't put the minimum at 0, the chart would eventually change the scale and maybe start at a higher number, so that it's only really showing a relative range. Maybe the minimum might be 15,000 and the top would be 18,000. So instead of showing from 0 all the way up. So we're going to set our minimum at 0. We're going to put our maximum, looking at what is our goal, $18,000. So our maximum will be $18,000. Okay. Now for the little tick marks, which are these little lines here right next to where it says what the numbers are, we don't, since this is a thermometer, thermometers don't have tick marks, we'll turn those off. All right. And then we will say, we'll close that. All right. Now what we have, we still have these lines in here, right? So what we're going to do is come and choose our, whoops, I'm sorry. We're going to come here back and right click on the numbers, and we're going to choose our format, our major grid lines, and choose no line. So now you'll notice that there's no lines in our thermometer. All right. We're almost there. What's missing? Well, the ball of the thermometer. So what we can do is, let's see if we can, what we can do is add a shape. So we're going to come up here, click on our insert ribbon, click on shapes, click on the oval tool. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to hold down the shift key, which will help me draw a perfect circle. Okay. And I am now going to maneuver my little circle exactly where it needs to be. Don't worry about the color yet, because now I'm going to come up to the top and say fill in my circle with red, and how about we get rid of the outline of my circle, and then I realize, oh no, my circle is a little bit too small, so well, let me add the red outline, see how that looks. It doesn't really make much of a difference, but so let me make my circle a little bigger and move it over just a touch. There you go. You now have a thermometer. So now how do you use? So one of the values of this, we've got this thermometer. In March, let's say $1,200 came in. Your thermometer adjusts automatically. In April, let's say another $900 came in. It adjusts automatically. So now, this is save as. Let me save this. Right? Better safe than sorry. Now, how do we use this? Well, what we can do is we can click on this. I'm going to right click and choose copy. And now I'm going to open up a PowerPoint presentation. And I can paste it in here, but there's a bunch of different ways we can do this that give you the most long-term value. So, come to our paste, and I click on the arrow below the paste clipboard, and I see that there are a bunch of options here, right? The first one says use the destination theme and embed the workbook. And what that means is that the little Excel worksheet that we have created will actually become part of this PowerPoint file. Now the downside is, if you'll notice when you look at the bottom of our thermometer, it's a little bit kooky, a little bit off-center, right? Because the styles and formatting of the PowerPoint take precedent. Let's move over to the next option, which is just simply keep your source formatting and embed the workbook, meaning however it was formatted in Excel, keep that the same. But still that workbook becomes part of this PowerPoint presentation. That's still not my preferred method. Let's go to the next one, which is use the destination theme and link the data. Now what that means is that it's going to take the formatting from PowerPoint, but all of the data, as the data changes in the Excel spreadsheet, gets changed in PowerPoint as well. So that's more like what we want, but we still want to be able to hold on to all the formatting that we've done. So let's choose the keep source formatting and link data. And that means that how this was formatted in Excel still holds precedence, and anytime the Excel spreadsheet changes, the data will change here on our thermometer. So we're going to choose that option. And you'll notice that, yeah, the circle's a little bit off. That tells me that my circle was not quite centered back in Excel. So we'll fix that. Now we can put this on move this to wherever we want it on our spreadsheet. We can, let's change the layout and with something on content here, and so now we could have like some, blah blah blah, sub blah 1, sub blah 2, right? we have our monthly report here, and every month we're going to update our text up in relation to how are we doing on our campaign. So let's save this. Now, if I want this to update automatically, actually changing it automatically or manually happens in the same place. I come over here and click on File in this area of PowerPoint. It's called the Backstage. Actually, it's called the Backstage in any Microsoft Office product. And down here in the right, there's this. This is Edit the links to files. And if we click on that, it will say, here is an Excel spreadsheet that I'm linked to, and the update is set at manual. If we'll set the update to automatic, what that means is that every time I open my PowerPoint presentation, it will automatically ask, do you want me to update the data from Excel? Therefore, if you've been keeping your monthly data up in Excel, as soon as you open this presentation, it's ready to go. So we've clicked on automatic, and we'll close this. Let's save our monthly status, and we're gonna close that and go back over here into Excel. So, and while we're here, let's fix our little ball there a little bit. I don't want to get too carried away with this. I just want it to look nicer. So here we are now. We get data in from May. Let's say we get $1,100 in May, and we get $3,200 in June. Okay, and now we're at the end of the second quarter. It's time for us to report again. We've saved our data. Just here a little bit under 12,000 bucks, right? 11,339 to be precise. We go and open up our PowerPoint presentation, and PowerPoint asks us, that says, hey, the presentation contains links, do you want to update them? Notice I'm going to move it over here so that you can see the difference. And we say, sure, PowerPoint, go ahead, get the new data from Excel and update. When we click that, notice that our thermometer automatically updated. We would then come in here, update our content to say, here's where we are, this was the differential, this is what's happened, etc., etc. So using that same strategy, we can now add even additional value from the same data by going to our Excel, and we could import, link this data as well if that was what we wanted to do. So I'm not going to pay too much attention to formatting in this case, but I'll just copy this information. I'm going to come over into my Excel. Again, notice this time I've got different options. Use destination style, keep source formatting, embed it as a picture, just the content. If I want to get to my linked information, I have to come and choose paste special, because this is not a picture item, it's text. And what we're going to do, we're going to do a link, and we're going to say as a Excel spreadsheet. I can now bring this in here, and I might reference this information in my blah 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 blah, current numbers. All right. Obviously, I try to do this in a much more stylish way if I really cared. And there we go. We save. If we'll notice now, if we come back to our backstage and we look at our links, notice there's another object now. So first time we had the chart, but now there's actually a worksheet. And since our first one was set at automatic, this one is also set at automatic as well. We save this. We come back to our worksheet, and let's say July happens and it's 2345, and August it's 1934, and September we get 1000 $167. We're almost there. Notice our thermometer is automatically updating. We save our data. It's time. It's report time. We open up our PowerPoint. There it is. Do you want to update it? Let me move this so that you can see. It still has the old numbers in, 11,339, slightly under $12,000 on our thermometer. We say, sure, update that. The thermometer updates, our data updates. We update our blah, blah, blah. We're ready to go. So by simply managing your data in Excel, setting this up once, you've now taken all of that effort off of the plate, and you can effectively and efficiently use your thermometer to report monthly. There's obviously a lot more fancy stuff you can do with it, but this is the core of what you're asking, and I think that you'll find this to be a valuable time saver. Again, if you have any question, please do not hesitate to reach out to me or any of my colleagues at TechServCo, and we will do what we can to help you along.